Red stripe, watcha. Man, shall I be the forward boy? Red stripe Premier League champion boy score. Every goal when I run from boy. Red stripe Premier League champion boy. Now pop down we run the marathon boy. Them wish I never made it that the champion boy. Nah man I don't a songsters boy.
The Harbourview Mini Stadium is the venue tonight for Red Stripe Football Mondays, and the second round of the 2019-2020 season will be ending tonight. Round 22, Mount Pleasant and their fans, hundreds of them from St. Anne, turning up tonight to take on a Harbourview team that they have not in the past dominated really. So from that standpoint, we're expecting a tough match. But at the moment, Mount Pleasant are joint leaders on points. Harbourview are number 9. So we have to think, George, that Harbourview will have some trouble tonight.
Yes, indeed. They have a new coach. Lolo Bernard says he's only spent a few days with the players. It's a case of 3 T's, Lance. Harbourview experiencing turmoil and tumult. And the question is, can Mount Pleasant turn that into trauma by taking the 3 points tonight?
Yeah, well, this match, as we said, will close off the 22nd round of matches in the Red Stripe Premier League for 2019-2020. Here are the results from Sunday's matches. Dunbeholden, one of the rising teams, improving in the past couple of weeks, 0-0 with UWI, who are winless from their last 10 games now. Portmore United returning to winning form, 2-0 over Arnett Garns, getting goals from Ricardo Morris and Shivani Willis. Vere United 0-0 with Waterhouse. Waterhouse, leaders for a long period in the first and second round, dipping their form is just 1 win in their last 8 matches, held 0-0 at Vere. Humberland beaten 3-0 by Tivoli Gardens, who are charging up toward a playoff spot. Cavalier, they were hot last night, defeating Malines by 4-0. A huge result there for the Cavalier team, and they rebounded well from the 2-0 loss they had last week to Dunbeholden.
In November last year, I saw one of the Portmore United cornerstones, Horace Reid, who said, George, don't worry, we've lost several of our best players. You can't expect the team to be playing well with those best players gone. Well, those best players, some of them have returned. Expect Portmore United to climb their way, if not clamber up the ladder, to be among the front runners to win the regular season, if it is at all possible from here on in.
Yeah, look at where Harbourview is. They're number 9 at the moment. If they win tonight, they'll move up to 29 points. And that would mean that the cluster of teams between 3rd, Arnett on 34, and Harbourview, if they win, on 29, 5 points will be separating 3rd from 9th. So, George, although Waterhouse and Mount Pleasant look fairly comfortable at the top, and UW and Vere look riveted to the bottom spots, those playoff spots are still very, very much there for the taking.
Save for the top 2, who have a 6-point cushion above the rest. Everybody else is in a phantom position. It's not a real position of strength. Arnett Garns aren't really 3rd, or Humberland aren't really 4th, and Cavalier aren't really outside of the playoff places, because everything is within arm's reach. It's typical of how a table at this stage of a season in a competitive league looks, and everything is possible for everybody except UWI and Veerlands, who are beneath the trapdoor, which is a place you don't want to be.
Oh, that's certainly so for UW and Vere, both winning just one of their last 21 matches. Last 3 meetings between Mount Pleasant and Harbourview. We have 2 Harbourview victories and 1 Mount Pleasant victory. There was a 4th meeting between these 2 teams earlier on last year, which was won by Mount Pleasant. So head-to-head at the moment from 4 meetings, 2 Mount Pleasant wins, 2 Harbourview wins, but the most recent results have favoured the Harbourview team.
Yeah, logic doesn't work really in horse racing, but it works in football more often, and there have been goals in each of the last 3 encounters between these teams, suggesting that there should be goals tonight. There are some informed players attacking-wise on the Mount Pleasant team, and there are some really bright and sharp young attackers on the Harbourview team. I expect goals tonight. I can't say, though, that the home team has the superior firepower in the head-to-head showdown.
Yeah, Mount Pleasant have been solid both in attack and in defence so far this season. That is why they're joint top of the table on points, and they're coming here looking for 3 points. Harbourview, they're struggling. They haven't been getting good results. They haven't been scoring many goals. They have been conceding more goals than most teams in the league, and they must improve tonight.
Yeah, expect a boost in Harbourview's fortunes tonight. There are some players who I've seen in the stands under the previous regime who have now seemingly been liberated, let out of jail. Nicholas Beckett among them. I see him warming up among the substitutes. If they can get that early goal to calm the nerves of the fans and to calm their own nerves, Nancy, more importantly than the people sitting and watching them, it's about but every man knowing that there is a bond among them that can fortify them and lead them to the 3 points against Mount Pleasant. The early goal, if Harbourview score early, they'll be very, very tough to beat tonight, I suspect.
Yeah, and we had a very confident Norman Campbell talking with us earlier on when we were linking on the Sportsmax zone, and there was something about his body language, George, that told us that the Harbourview team is coming into this contest very confident, especially with the fact that they knew that they beat Mount Pleasant back in September.
And he confessed to having benefited from the change in leadership at the helm of the team.
Yes.
Maybe most of the players will tell you that the liberating feeling of having someone new giving the instructions will put a boost to their performance.
Yeah, you say someone new, but someone who has been with Harbourview for a long time.
But so new in terms of making the decisions.
Yeah, new in the sense of a change from what was there before. But Ludlow Bernard is a solid Harbourview man who has been here for decades as a coach. Mount Pleasant, as we said, they need only a draw tonight, George, to move ahead of Waterhouse in the point standings. And there isn't much that Coach Paul Tegas Davis can be complaining about with this team.
Yeah, you know, Donovan Lucas Mount Pleasant were dodgy and stodgy. Paul Tegas Davis's Mount Pleasant isn't that. There's more malleability about this team. There is more fluency and fluidity in attack. And even better than all of those things mentioned, Bushy Beckford, Cardell Benbow, the attacking players have really come to show why they were bought in the first place. They are now justifying their price tags. Those boys are playing well, which makes Mount Pleasant even more dangerous.
Yeah, and this Harbourview team, they'll be coming in with several changes to their starting roster tonight. In fact, almost half of their team starting tonight didn't start against Tivoli in their last outing. So let's see how much that will impact on their performance. They've only scored 20 goals so far this season. The only team that has scored fewer goals than they have is Veer United. Not good stats there for Harbourview.
Yeah, but the true test and the true proof of confidence is not fist bumps in training or pats on the back while you're doing warm-up drills. It's about going out there and playing as a team. Will that confidence translate into a decisive action from the boys, right decision making and team bonding when you are done? That will tell over the course of the 90 minutes. All those questions will be answered to prove whether or not this team has indeed been galvanized by the elevation of Ludlow Bernard and the removal of the previous regime.
So head-to-head 4 meetings between these two teams so far. 2 Mount Pleasant victories, 2 Harbourview victories, and they're playing for a lot tonight. Of course, Mount Pleasant playing for leadership in the championship race, and the Harbourview team will be looking to improve their position. Even if they win tonight, they will remain 9th because they will move jointly with the team that is in 8th on points, but their goal difference is so poor, they aren't likely to make a positional advance.
All right, so a lot of sport coming up on Sportsmax, the home of champions. As ever, the Celtics and the Bucks lock horns in the NBA. That's on Sportsmax Thursday, 8 p.m., 9 p.m. ECT. That's the prelude to this contest between the Nuggets from Denver and the woeful Golden State Warriors. Thursday, 10:30 p.m., 11:30 p.m. ECT on Sportsmax. What about cricket, Lance?
Yeah, it's going to be India and Australia battling. India looking to avenge the loss they had at home to Australia in an ODI series a year ago, and they would want to put things right 3 o'clock in the morning Friday for that one. And the second ODI between the two teams, 3 o'clock Sunday morning, 4 Eastern Caribbean time. These matches being played in India, Australia on tour.
Yeah, and you may think it's Groundhog Day, but it's not Bill Murray's movie. It's really reality. Harbourview and Mount Pleasant will do it all over again 7 days from now, right here, Monday, 7:30 p.m. for your pre-game show, 8:30 p.m. if you're outside of Jamaica. Of course, it's Sportsmax 2.
Bernard, the man back in charge at Harbourview, looking to get a result here from the travelling and red-hot Mount Pleasant at the Harbourview Mini Stadium. Still more to come in the build-up after this.
We are ready.
The role is to continue to drive for the development of the game here. Although players are selected from clubs abroad, they were developed in the league.
They're really quality players and they have really good attitude, and you get your money's worth.
This match has turned up several gears. Under clear skies here at the Harbourview Mini Stadium tonight, getting ready for a battle between two teams at opposite ends of the table. Not too hot tonight, 26 degrees Celsius, very little chance of rain, pretty humid, but as usual when we get to Harbourview on a winter night, talking about December or January, we have this pretty steady breeze. There's Kimar Bushy-Beckford, 9 goals in the last 8 matches, and this former Waterhouse man is now red hot.
Yeah, red hot indeed. Didn't show his true form last season, his first campaign with the Mount Pleasant team, but hoping to do much better. And so far, he's trended as if he's playing like the player that we saw at Waterhouse.
Harbourview 4-time champions of the Premier League. Last time they were champions was 2013. They had won previously in 2000, 2007 and the 2010. Team that has a very, very rich history in local football, not only in the Kingston and St Andrew championships, but also the entire national program, and a team that has produced outstanding players of the past. And although they are in 9th position at the moment, they aren't even thinking about relegation. There's Norman Campbell, recently turned 20 years old, a Manning Cup winner with Jamaica College, and one of the leading scorers at the moment for this Harbourview team. He has had 3 goals so far this season. Did have a summer trial with Stoke City in England back in July, August, and he confidently told us a few hours ago that he's looking for goals tonight and also a victory for the Harbourview team. Decoy Williams, a former Red Stripe Premier League Championship winner with Arnett Gardens. He had also won the Premier League with Harbourview back in 2010, so he has had 2 titles with different teams. Very solid, strong central defender for Harbourview, who has Ludlow Bernard now in charge.
Ludlow, you've come in to put out a fire here. You're the latest coach in this Harbourview setup. How much time have you had with the boys, and what have you done with that time?
It's been like 4 days, so it's really motivational more than anything, you know. The recent severance never really got on too well, so we figured that I had to spend the time and do some healing. So far it has been very good, the response has been great, and I expect it to be reflected this evening.
There would have been a blueprint to approach this Mount Pleasant game, given that you've played them earlier this season. From a tactical perspective, what have you asked the boys to do tonight?
Yeah, well, yes, we enter this game clearly with a plan, and we hope that it can work. We figure that, you know, the times when we defeated Mount Pleasant this season and last season, pretty much the same approach we'll be taking, whatsoever that is. But we are very confident. We intend to be very strong defensively, and then we figure that we can take it from there.
January is not too old yet. Are you planning to tell the club to do any business, to bring in anybody to strengthen the hand that you hope to play for the rest of the season?
Yeah, well, where the business part of the club is concerned, if Coach Damian was here, I would have been the one doing the business. Yes, there have been approaches to a couple of persons. We intend to boost up our front line and inside of the midfield. So probably come the next Mount Pleasant game, you may see a couple more additions.
The business model that Harbourview runs cannot support relegation. It would all fall apart. Yeah. How much is this playing on your mind in terms of the job that you have in front of you for the rest of the campaign? Yeah,
I try not to let it play on my mind. I'm depending on my instincts, and I'm depending on my abilities to really keep this program afloat. If I were to spend the time thinking about it, then I would be distracted. I'm pretty confident that with the support of Mr. Stewart, Mr. Jardine and everybody, we can get it together.
And of course, amid all that, I didn't ask, you say you've spoken to the players, but how have they responded to the message that you've tried to impress upon them in the time you've been with them?
The response so far has been tremendous. I can't fault them for not, really responding in due time. And as I said before, you're all eager to go.
Ludlow Bernard back in charge of this Harbourview team. Damien Stewart sacked as coach in the past week. Mount Pleasant, new kids on the block, only founded in 2016, and tremendously impressive that they've found themselves in the top flight within 3 years of existence. First appearance in the top flight last year, actually got to the playoffs, reached the semi-finals before they were eventually knocked out by the eventual champions Portmore. And Kimar Beckford, he's on 11 goals so far this season, just one behind his all-time record of 12 goals he had for Waterhouse 2 years ago.
Yeah, showing his Waterhouse form. Finally, Kimar Beckford was a shadow of himself in his first season for Mount Pleasant last campaign, but seems to have rediscovered his mojo, and he's flying now.
Yeah, very, very outstanding player. Kicks well with both feet and has scored 9 goals in the last 8 matches. Cardell Benbow, also a former Waterhouse player, is joining up with Bushy Beckford, now at Mount Pleasant.
Yeah, seemed to have drank the same coffee that Kimar Beckford drank last season. Was a shadow of himself for much of the campaign, but has looked revitalized so far this season. And Paul Teagat Davis will be hoping to continue to coax the best out of this quick, dynamic attacker.
Yeah, let's hear from Teagat himself now, preparing this Mount Pleasant team for championship honours this year.
Coach, you come to Harbourview with your opponents in some disarray, a new coach and the emotional toll on a young group of players. How are you planning to exploit that?
I'm not watching in terms of new coaching. It's the same players. So that, and they would have a set frame of mind, they have beat us in the first leg, so I think that would be a motivation for them. Nevertheless, for us it's a rivalry like that. They came to our home and beat us, so now it's our turn.
Since that defeat, Mount Pleasant have gone from strength to strength. You're really traveling well right now. What would you say accounts for the sustained period of good form that you've been experiencing?
You guys just start believing what what coaching staff is doing. And one thing we are doing right now is scoring goals. And if every game we can score 1 or 2, 3 goals, it's good for us.
But it must be more than motivation, because you had some big name players last season who weren't getting the job done. Those players are showing sparks of their old selves. What it is that you have done? Have you had an arm around the shoulder, one-on-one talks? Have you done more drills? What is it?
Yeah, it's more work, it's more work in terms of attacking. And again, we as coaches, we sit with the players and find out their needs and their wants, and nurture them, because that's what we are for as a coach. We are like their parents. So when they have needs, wants, or injury, whatever, we try to find out and try to fix it.
The Premier League season is a strange one, given the various stages, and it's easy to peak early and then peter out, and then it's easy also to not start well and then not be able to find momentum. You have a good balance now. How do you keep it until the end of the season?
We have to try and monitor them, how they sleep, how they eat, how they walk, how they drink, everything, That's what we're going to do right now, just try and monitor them and try to keep them happy.
Yeah, Teagat Davis there, certainly presiding over a Mount Pleasant team that looks really hot. Their fans have been really happy in recent weeks, and this is a team that has won 6 of their last 8 matches and are poised to go to the top of the table if they avoid defeat tonight, which most people expect them to.
Yeah, La Liga Sportsmax 2, Real Madrid at home to Sevilla Saturday morning, 10 a.m., 11 a.m. ECT. And then on Sunday, Barcelona, they have a new coach, Kiki Setién. He formerly directed Real Betis. Ernesto Valverde is history, and they entertain Granada with their new coach on the touchlines Sunday, 3 p.m., 4 p.m. ECT on Sportsmax 2. And then we return to Harbourview next Monday. Mount Pleasant will be the same opponents Monday, 7:30 p.m., 8:30 p.m. ECT again, Sportsmax 2.
So the Mount Pleasant fans, as usual, turning out in their numbers whenever they have away assignments. Well, it's even more huge when they're at home at Drax Hall, but they have come to Kingston to give their team support against the Harbourview team that they'll be trying to avenge their loss they had to them back in September when Harbourview defeated them by 2-1, courtesy of strikes from Alves and Norman Campbell. But it's a pretty cool night here, relatively speaking, but we expect the action to be hot on the field when Mount Pleasant take on Harbourview coming up in 10 minutes.
And we are ready.
The role is to continue to drive for the development of the game here. Although players are selected from clubs abroad, they were developed in the league.
They're really quality players and they have really good attitude and you get your money's worth.
This match has turned up several gears.
One bag of gold medal pan me now. Red stripe alone champion boy go. Pan a pour them a singing anthem too. Red stripe, watch out, watch out, watch out. Man shall I better forward boy. Red stripe Premier League champion boy score. Every goal winner run from boy. Red stripe Premier League champion boy now. Back down we run him all up and boy. The Red stripe Premier League champion boy, yeah yeah.
The Harbourview Mini Stadium, the venue for Red Stripe Football Mondays tonight. It's the league's #2 team, Mount Pleasant, travelling all the way from St. Anne to tackle four-time champions Harbourview tonight in a battle that could tell us something about who the playoff teams might be. Mount Pleasant looking safe at the moment. Harbourview a little bit off the playoff position, but still within range if they improve their results. It's going to be a big game tonight. We have pretty cool conditions here at 26 degrees Celsius, but George Davis, our experience here at the Harbourview compound, would suggest to us that in an hour from now it will get a lot cooler, but we hope the action on the field is hot.
Absolutely so. The teams are poised to deliver a good game. Harbourview got with that new manager, well, that new head coach's bounce, and Mount Pleasant travelling so very well and sensing the opportunity to go back to the top of the Premier League standings and put 3 points between themselves and Waterhouse. They'll want to grab that chance with both hands.
12 wins so far in the season for Mount Pleasant. No team in the league has won more than they have so far this season. Their travelling fans have come here expectant, and the Harbourview fans want to resist them.
Harbourview Football Club from the 1990s was in the management crew at one stage. My baller is local Levy. Was very surprised when he was cut from the squad, but now that Lord Bernard is here, he's back, so I'm looking forward to some good football from him today.
My name is Michael Bernard. I'm an ardent fan of Harbourview, living here the community 49 years now, and I'm expecting them to win tonight. It's a difficult game, but I expect them to win. So you can run with that.
expecting Harbourview to win 2-0. It's a difficult game for us anyway, but if we play to the coach's plan, then we should come away victorious today.
Yeah, my prediction is that we'll win by 1 goal, 1-0, and I'm pretty sure that we're going to win tonight.
Good night. My name is Andre Henry, and I support Mount Pleasant from the first season up until now, and we are win 3-1 tonight. The ball we have to look out for is Jardy and Fletcher, 1 or 2 off of the left, and my ball at that, Mount Pleasant to the world.
Jordan Fletcher expected to score tonight. 3-1 the prediction there coming from the Mount Pleasant man. And the Harbourview seeming equally confident, especially with a new man in charge. Ludlow Bernard taking over from Damien Stewart, who fell out, it seems, with a couple of the players, including Gianluca Levy, who is back in the setup now that Damien Stewart has gone.
Yeah, Gianluca Levy, one of the players name checked by Damien Stewart when he spoke about the basically undermining players, refusing to take his instruction, and then going around him to speak to senior management about the instructions that he had given. He named 2 players, Gianluca Levy and Gene Talbot. I'm not telling tales out of schools. This is what has been published in a Gleaner newspaper report, and those 2 players, I'm sure, would be happy with a change in regime.
And look at who wears the captain's armband for Harbourview tonight. Harbourview in gold, Mount Pleasant in blue. O'Shea Nation has the ball and the whistle tonight. And as I mentioned, with the captain's armband tonight for Harbourview, their long-standing captain, Nicholas Beckett, who has been out of action for most of the season. In fact, this is only his 2nd game this season. And the Harbourview team, from that perspective at least, having a familiar look about it.
Yeah, and for those of you who know how referees normally are decked out, there are no badges on the referees' shirts. The badge that should be there should say 2020. The referees only have 2019 badges. You cannot wear a 2019 badge in 2020. And the referees, Assessor Peter Prendergast, has said that, yeah, there's a problem there. We understand that the problem is caused because the JFF have yet to provide the 2020 badges to the referees. That's sad.